Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and these are the Meze Audio ALBA, a $159 US single dynamic driver in-ear monitor. These were sent to me by Meze Audio. As far as I know, I am able to keep them. And the link that I will put in the description below, where you can buy these directly from Meze, will be an affiliate link. So if you like what I have to say about this product and you want to buy it, please consider using that link and I will get a small kickback. Despite the fact that these are given to me and that there is an affiliate link here, you have my pledge to be as objective as I possibly can be within a subjective field in my evaluation of this product. And, you know, I thought this was pretty good. Right? I did end up enjoying these quite a bit and found them to be quite comfortable. So why do I say such things? Stick around right after Shameless self-promotion to find out.
Hello. I'm one of the reasons that Wave Theory can't spend all of his money on audio gear. He wants you to know that your support is vital for keeping the channel running. So if you enjoy Wave Theory's bussin' review riz and no-cap review style and want to encourage him to stay in the basement, so I don't have to listen to his dad jokes as much, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also send him a donation on PayPal or sign up for the Patreon. Links are in the description. Now on to the review.
So it's another exciting day for the Reviews by Wave Theory YouTube channel because these are released to the market just today. The release of this video should coincide chronologically with the public announcement and the ability to order these from Meze Audio. And so that is, for those of you who may be watching this sometime in the future, June 20th, 2024. All right, so thanks to Meze for sending these to me early for evaluation and all of that, so I can do a day of release review. That's cool stuff. I appreciate it. All right, on with the review itself here. And yeah, it's the, here it is. It's the IEM, the ALBA. Now, ALBA comes from the Romanian word meaning into the light. And in Meze's product literature, they say that they picked that name because they see this product as kind of an entry point into the Meze world and the Meze sound. And I kind of agree with that. I will flesh that out here in a little bit when we talk about the sound. But this is a zinc alloy and anodized aluminum die-cast shell here. And then we have like one size of the stock tip here, which is just this white and like silicone kind of thing here. And we see a 2-pin connector here, all that. So that's just like a real quick preview of the build. And as I said at the top, I did end up enjoying these quite a bit. I found their sound signature to be like warm and full, but not like too far from neutral. So it's like neutral warm in its sound. And honestly, like the tuning of them and the presentation very much reminded me of like the kind of sound that you get from Meze's big planar magnetic headphones, like the Empyrean series and the Elite model there. Like they just have that kind of tuning, that kind of sound, that kind of presentation, but in a $160 IEM form factor. And even though in my personal opinion, the Empyrean and the Elite models did not really offer appropriate bang for the buck as determined by the market, I do think that the tuning on them is strong and that these get fairly close to the tuning. That's a good thing. And I also think that these are much more appropriate on the price performance curve for at $160 US. Like I don't think that they are technically lacking in any way at that price. So let's dive into this in more detail and see why I say such things. Here is the box that you get the ALBA in. And inside you get some product literature, a quick setup guide. All right, you get this white carrying case. The color white here is a definite theme with these other stock tip sizes in there. Okay, I ended up not really using the stock tips. I used CP145s from SpinFit. I found these to be a lot better, so I will put a link to these in the description down below as well. So this is what I did my listening test on, found them to be more effective and comfortable in these. There's also a size missing in here. I'm sorry, Meze. There are 4 sizes in there. What did I do with those other tips? I don't remember. They're around somewhere. Okay, but those are the stock tips. Then we get this carrying case right here. Again, white color is the theme. And then for this review inside, I put the stock cable that comes with it, which is a 3.5 millimeter single-ended connector on the amp end. And then we see the 2-pin connection here on the IEM end. And like one thing you'll notice about this cable is it's very thin and it is prone to tangling. It's not too bad on this instance. I was able to coil it up fairly successfully, but there were several times where this cord got fairly tangled, and I had to spend some time undoing it. So that's something to keep in mind if you're interested in buying this. You may want to consider an aftermarket cable. However, there's also this matching that comes with the unit, this matching USB-C to 3.5 millimeter adapter here. So this is like a little DAC inside here, DAC/amp if you will. Though I think most of the amping comes from whatever you plug this into. Okay, that comes with the unit, if I understand their product literature correctly. And yeah, it's a little DAC. And a curious thing about this is that it will decode PCM files, no DSD, 44.1 kilohertz, 48 kilohertz, 96 kilohertz, 192 kilohertz, 384 kilohertz sampling rates. Notice that I did not say any multiples of 44.1 kilohertz. So if you have files that are 88.2 kilohertz or 176.4 kilohertz or anything like that, a lot of DSD conversion, software DSD conversion, will convert to 176.4 kilohertz. Your software player, whatever, is going to have to do some reconfiguring because this, for whatever reason, at least according to my Rune Arc app, does not decode multiples of 44.1 kilohertz. 44.1 itself is fine, just not multiples thereof. So that is something to keep in mind. More comments about this guy when we get to the sound. All right, so those are the features and the accessories and all of that. Let's take a closer look at the in-ear monitors themselves. Well built, they are also small, and you see we have a little bit of venting here on the back of the shell. And Meze calls this a pearl color in there, and I guess that is accurate there. And again, it's small, like it's smaller than most IEMs that I have used. And so I actually liked the comfort of these. I thought they fit my ears pretty well. So if you are a person who has a smaller ear opening, not necessarily a small ear canal, but like your pinna, like the outer part of your ear where IEMs like to sit is on the smaller side, these would be a really strong option for you to consider just because of their smaller physical size. And again, I found these to be above average in comfort for the IEMs that I have experience with. And you can see a link down in the description. I will link to every IEM review I've ever done. And you can get a feel for what that means when I say that. All right, so that's the build. They are well built, well made. I didn't have any problems with them ergonomically or comfort-wise, save for that stock cable, which does tend to get a little bit tangled and so forth. Right, these are a single dynamic driver with I believe it's 10.8 millimeter driver in there. They have a rated impedance of 32 ohms at 1 kilohertz and a rated sensitivity of, I believe it's 109 decibels per milliwatt input there, also at 1 kilohertz. So they kind of drive more like a full-size headphone, at least in terms of impedance. They are a little bit more sensitive than most full-size headphones. So they're not super easy to drive as far as IEMs go, but nor are they inordinately difficult. And I think you'll be fine driving them from most portable devices on there. But with that, I think we can jump into the sound. And so let's talk about the test gear and signal chains that I used for these guys. Again, I used the SpinFit CP145 small tips because those with these ended up like being just really good comfort, staying in my ears pretty well. And so link to those in the description. That was part of the listening that I did. Okay, I did use this included USB-C to 3.5 millimeter dongle, okay, plugged into my Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus smartphone, which is doing the filming for me right there. And then also, like, my most common IEM use case, honestly, is to take them to the gym. And I will very often plug them into this guy, the Radsound Ear Studio 100 or ES 100. right here. This is a Bluetooth DAC amp in there, and it's a little older now, and you can't really buy it new anymore. I think it's a discontinued model. That's really unfortunate because the Bluetooth connection on this is actually pretty good. It's very stable, very reliable, and the unit sounds pretty good still. So anyway, I use that a lot. And then the big gun for IEM testing, Cord Hugo 2 with the matching 2Go streamer. All right, so this guy, the ES100, would have been connected via Bluetooth to the same smartphone that got plugged into and all that. So these two would have been sourced using the Rune Arc app or Spotify Premium. Right there, when it was using Spotify, I would have used that 320 kilobit per second Ogg Vorbis format. When it was connected to Rune, when they were connected to Rune Arc, I would have used either lossless or high-res FLAC files, again, through the Rune Arc app connected to my Rune server here in my house. And then also some DSD files for the same. The PCM files would have been either locally or streamed via Qobuz, and the DSD files would have had to be local. This thing right here would have been just used here at home, connected to the same Rune system that I just said, but just as a Rune endpoint rather than Rune Arc. Okay. The sound on these things ended up being pretty pleasant. All right, when I first got these in, they sounded just a little bit like bloated to me, just a little bit boomy, and not very crisp in the treble, but also a little bit harsh. I think they needed some break-in because after several hours of use, I don't know exactly how many, somewhere between 8 to 15 hours of use, I bet, somewhere in there, they really started to loosen up and open up. And then they sounded like a lot better, a lot smoother. The boom and the bloat kind of disappeared, and that treble sharpness for the most part disappeared, and all of that too. And it just like the detail retrieval came out a little bit more and so forth. So I think like right out of the box, you're going to want to give these, call it 12-ish hours at least, I think, of break-in time before you can really get a feel for what these things sound like. And even then, like as I started to break in, I wasn't immediately impressed with the sound, but what I noticed about these is that just in time, as you go and as you listen, they just really, like your ears grow on them, or they grow on your ears. One of those two things, right? And they do become really enjoyable and just kind of draw you in. They have a neutral warm tuning where it's mostly neutral, just a little bit of emphasis in the upper bass, lower mid-range to give it that warmth. And again, it's very reminiscent of the tuning of like Meze's Empyrean and Elite models of their big, like approaching flagship and actual flagship planar magnetic headphones. So that kind of a tuning there. And just pretty good tonal balance to go with it, especially through the bass and the mids. I thought the relationship between fundamental frequencies and their harmonics was fairly accurate and natural. And then the treble is not quite as good in the tonal balance, but it's also far from poor. There's, especially in the upper treble, there is just a little bit of thinness to like some hi-hat hits and that sort of thing. Like bigger cymbals, like crash cymbals and all of that sound pretty good, but like the higher pitch stuff like hi-hats and cymbals that are smaller than that can sound just a little bit thin and shimmery at times. Not overly objectionable, but it is there. If you are familiar with the drumming style of Mike Portnoy, formerly of Dream Theater, and I think he's back with Dream Theater if I'm not mistaken, and he's had several other projects as well. He does a lot of the cicada hi-hat kind of stuff, and like you can kind of hear the thinness of that sound come out a little bit on the ALBA, more than I would like it to, but again, it's not overly grating or problematic for most material, so that's something to keep in mind there as well. The soundstage is fairly big. Right? It's not overly huge, but it's on the wider side. There is decent imaging and separation. Not a whole lot of depth, but a little bit there. So like the three-dimensionality and the holography is okay. I think it's pretty price appropriate for about $160 unit. Okay, in there, the dynamics and the impact are middling. They are neither a standout trait nor are they a weakness and all that. They're kind of there, kind of what they need to be. Okay, in that regard there. The resolution is pretty good. Like for $160 US, I don't really have any complaints about any of the details missing, or like of the holography and all that kind of stuff. And it's more of a relaxed presentation. Most of the details are present. I mean, again, for the price, appropriately present, but they're not pushed at you. This is just a very relaxed listening kind of thing. So like really the tuning and the presentation, and then of course you add in the physical comfort on these, which was good for me. Your mileage may vary, all that. What you really get here is an IEM that is not going for a wow factor, but it is going for a just kick back, relax, and just kind of enjoy the music for an extended period of time kind of IEM. This would be a really good travel companion. So if you do a lot of commuting, it does a pretty good job with sound isolation and all of that. And it's got the relaxed kind of sound that's just a little bit warmer than true neutral, though not too far away from true neutral. And like, again, non-fatiguing, comfortable, and it's friendly with a wide range of genres of music. So, I mean, it's got that going for you too. So it's a good travel companion for that as well. Now, I said I'd have some comments on the dongle here, and honestly, the dongle is just kind of unremarkable. Does not really hurt the sound of these, doesn't really help, but it is handy just to have it that it's included in the package, because so many smartphones and all of that anymore just don't have a headphone output on them, and this is probably better than just the straight headphone output of most of those devices anyway. Little unfortunate that it doesn't do multiples of 44.1 kilohertz sampling rates, but it is a nice inclusion in there. The unit sounded, the ALBA sounded really good with the ES100, even via Bluetooth. I like this little unit, and this sounded really good on it too. Like lots of control, pretty good detail and all of that. Like these two together, with a little clip to like help clip up the stock cable and all of that. These sounded really good. And then of course, they sound a little bit more detail forward and aggressive with the Hugo 2, just because that is the sound of the Hugo 2. Now they are not going to be aggressive, period, and they only scale up to a point in terms of their detail retrieval and all of that. But like you can tell that this is the best signal chain by some distance that I put these on by when you plug these into here. But again, you are going to hit the wall on what those can do with this unit fairly quickly, which is to be expected for the price and for what it is and so forth. Now, comparisons with similar units is going to be a bit on the challenging side, just because I've not heard a whole lot of IEMs in this price range, and it's been a while since I've heard them. Like at $180 is the Tanchjim Kara, at $190 is the Moondrop Kato. I believe it's the Kato. I get some of the Moondrops confused, but I'm pretty sure it's the Kato. And this is right there with those two units in terms of overall quality, I think, even though it's a little bit cheaper. And like the comfort on this is really good. And those other two units were really comfortable. And I thought those other two units did a good job with a wide range of music and all of that. Now, my memory is, and I had to go back and watch my review for this, but my memory of the Kato is with its silver nozzles, it was just a little bit forward in the upper mids, lower treble, which these are not. Okay, so that one was a little bit more forward and aggressive sounding than this one is, so that some people might find fatiguing. The Kato was a little bit better with the brass nozzles on that one, but again, these are going to be a little bit more relaxed and less fatiguing, I think, for most people. The Tanchjim Kara was a very like thunderous, bassy, like, and just kind of like dynamic, punchy, aggressive kind of sound that I really enjoyed because I like a lot of heavy metal and all that kind of stuff. But the Kara also is probably going to be more fatiguing more quickly than these are going to be. All right, so that's just something to keep in mind there also. Okay, so again, I ended up enjoying these quite a bit. They do need just a little bit of break-in time, and they're also not a sound that's going to reach out and grab you and impress you right out of the bat, or like right off the bat, but they are a very competent overall performer that has a slightly warmer than neutral, but not too far from neutral kind of tuning. Very relaxed presentation that is non-fatiguing, and they are quite physically comfortable, and they play nice with a wide range of music genres. So I ended up enjoying these, and I could see I could be pretty happy with them if I were to buy them at $160. It's like taking them to the gym for workouts and stuff, because I mean they are good for heavy metal and all of that too with their presentation, which is a lot of what I listen to at the gym. Okay, but yeah, pretty solid unit, pretty good value, and a good introduction to Meze's sound, as they say in their product literature. So I do recommend checking them out if you are looking for a warm and relaxed and reasonably priced IEM. Here you go. All right, so I'm Wave Theory. This has been my review of the Meze ALBA, which was released just today, as coinciding with the public release of this video. So thanks again to Meze for sending these over. I enjoyed getting to know these. To the rest of you, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, check out my PayPal and my Patreon, and generally do those things you do to support YouTube channels. Thanks again for watching, and as always, enjoy the music.